Okay, everybody, we're back at it again. I had a moment there of silence as I was readjusting the screen. Okay, so here we are, back to our old friend Sierra Grande. Going to go in and show you how to make sure that you understand exactly what to do as far as taking the elevations, the distances, and so forth and so on. One thing I noticed that I hadn't done the last time, I'm going to scroll this window back down again. You are going to have to take a couple of measurements. You know, the distance between maximum and minimum elevation and the base diameter, which goes from one side of the volcano to the other. In order to do that, you're going to use the distance tool, the ruler tool in Google Earth. That's this little button up here towards the top. Once you do that, this little window opens up. I'm going to position this back up again so that the elevation is showing. But one thing I want to warn you of here, you'll notice that this opens in miles, okay, as far as the length goes. You're going to want to make sure, in this case, you change it each time to kilometers. And once you do that, you can just kind of shove that out of the way, and we'll just be recording the number from that later. Okay, so coming over here to Capulin. I'm going to close that. Because I'll show you exactly what that does in a moment. So I'm going to close that. That button turned off. I'm back down to my little pan hand here. And I'm going to kind of scroll around the crest area until I get, what I see to be my maximum elevation. And like I said, you might be able to get to this a little faster, a little easier when you're zoomed in more if you had the full screen. Keep that in mind. And I know I just had a 2650 there a moment ago. Oops, got to go back to the right area. Going up, going down, going up, going down, up, down, down. There we go. So about 2650. So once you get that, you'd write that down quickly. Okay. Note where that is, and note about where your hand is, because that's where you're going to be taking your starting measurement from with a ruler. Then you're going to scroll out here to the edge of the volcanic system. Find a low point, again, out at the edge of the radial area. Now, if we were doing this more formally as part of a larger research project, you'd want to do several of these measurements around each volcanic system. We're just going for one here to check out this whole system. But we're going to take this as being, somewhere around that 2070, 80 mark as we move around in here. I think I've got written down 2083, so we'll take that as a number. So we had about 2650 up here, 2083 down here. Now if I go back up and light up the ruler, again, it opens in miles, got to change it back to kilometers. Come back, find my 2650, whoops, 2650, hit the left mouse button once, that puts your starting point, then drag a line out to the 2683-ish elevation. Okay. You'll notice that's about 5.56, somewhere in there, kilometers distance. Okay. So there's your slope line. That's the distance between your upper and lower elevations. Okay, the other thing you're going to want to do is go back to this area. Actually, I'm going to clear that. Come back to that 2083 value. And I'm going to want the base diameter. That's from one side of the volcano to the other. So, again, put a starting point. Go right through the crest area. Over to the other side of the volcano. It's about 10.4, 10.5, depending on exactly where you measure it. I wrote down 10.5 earlier. Okay, so we'd have that value. Now you've got the basic data you need to enter into the spreadsheet for this volcano. So I'm going to clear that, close that, switch over to Excel. I'd come find Sierra Grande, and then shift over to where I'm going to record my data. For maximum elevation, it was 2650 meters. Minimum elevation, when I did it the first time, was 2083 meters. Distance between the points, 5.6 kilometers. Whoops, wrong. Oh, that's right. The height is the difference between the maximum and minimum. That's 567 meters. Have a slope of 0.1 approximately. So we're good to go there. And then for the base diameter in kilometers, we've got 10.51 kilometers. If I enter that, it also calculates, in this case, the base radius of something I may have you do later. I haven't decided yet. And that's, the radius is half the diameter. So there we go there. Okay. So there's one set of data entered for Sierra Grande, and you see exactly how to do it. Okay. Now let me quickly switch over to Capulene, which is over here. We'll zoom in, which I can do. One of the things that Google Earth has a bad habit in my mind is doing, as much as I love to look at things in 3D, it automatically kind of just puts you in that 3D mode and shifts stuff around. So I'm going to take this back to the horizontal, which I have, and then we'll switch this thing back again so it's oriented relative to north. Okay, so here is Capulene. Zoom in a little more, flatten it back out again, clicking on that lower arrow, shifting it back down. Okay. Have it up, show the elevations. So the high point on this volcano is somewhere over in here. I take that as being 2490, I think was a high, somewhere in there. Got to come down off the edge, down to the bottom of the slope. 2190, so we had what, 2490 up here, 2190 down here. Start my little measurement tool, ruler, change it to kilometers. Find the 20, there we go, 2490, start it, take it down to about 2190. Okay, got about 0.69 kilometers. So 2490, 2190, and 0.7 kilometers is the slope distance. And then of course the last thing we want, clear that quickly, come from that 2090 point, come across the volcano to the other side, and we're going to have a total distance of about 1.55 kilometers. Okay. Cool. So we clear that. Okay. We can close that again. Go back to Excel. Come down to cinder cones. Find Capulene. And we'll come over and enter our data. 2490, the upper elevation. 2190, lower elevation, 0.7 distance between those points, gives us our height difference, the rise, and then calculates the slope, 0.043, a little bit higher slope there than in the first case, and the distance between those points was 1.55, which will then go and calculate in meters the base diameter, excuse me, the base radius from the base diameter. So there's two examples of how to do that. Have fun, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Talk to you soon.